Folks, there's the shirt. That's all I'm saying.
Book it, baby. Book it. These are the big bookets, James. So I felt like I had to bring out the book it T-shirt because these are the games. I'm gonna book them. I'm either gonna send them home or they're gonna move on to the quarterfinals. You can book it.
I'm not even asking how you got it. I'm sure there's a story behind it. I'm just not going to go there. And I think we're just going to go on. So before we get started, Freddie, I just want to say there's a lot of teams that are playing in these playoffs. And our buddy Aram Talesian did this once, and I thought this was great. There's also a lot of teams that are not playing this weekend. And to the coaches and to the players and the parents, all we can say is thank you. We know all the loops you had to go through, all the hoops to make sure that the kids got on the field and everything. And in a year in which, we just didn't know what to expect with the pandemic and everything, Freddie, I think it's an admirable thing for a lot of these kids to play ball this year.
Yeah, I mean, it started the spring not knowing what was going to happen with the coronavirus. We went into the fall with the new Delta variant and not knowing how that was going to impact the team. And look, a lot of teams still missed weeks. They missed weeks of football games because they had to sit out because players were impacted. But, we got through the season. I think it was better than expected. I think, James, at the end of the day, I think, there were some hiccups along the way, but I think everyone got through it. It was great to see a lot of people participate in looking out for others to help us get here. And here we are. We had Selection Sunday just a couple of days ago. It was exciting. We've got a new divisional format that I think has created divisions in every round that are competitive, whether you're the 16th seed or the number 1 seed, with the exception of Division 1, obviously, which has the 4 big favorites. But I don't know that everyone's going to agree with these playoff divisions. I just got done talking with Steve Haggerty because I'm putting out his thoughts on their first round game this week against Yorba Linda. And he says, look, we've got to stop trying to look for the holy grail when it comes to playoff divisions. You're not going to find it. You're always going to have something where people are unhappy. It is what it is. You're going to try this. Maybe you tinker with something else in the future. But this is what we have before us now. I don't like all of it. I like some of it. I think the matchups are great. And I'm ready for the playoffs. Book it.
We should note that Steve Haggerty is a member of the CIF Southern Section Football Coaches Advisory Committee. That advisory committee voted overwhelmingly for this system to be presented to the CIF Council, which then almost unanimously voted in favor of this system. So this is what we have.
And I'll tell you something about those votes, James. They're almost like it's almost like government when you have everybody kind of Rob. This was Rob Wygod's vision and idea. Rob really wanted it to pass. He pushed for it with the CIF the advisory council, and I think they backed them along party lines, if that's the way you want to say it.
Sure,
I don't think it was popular among everybody. I think there are a lot of people, we've talked to a lot during the season, that some liked, some didn't like it. It depended on your own situation. But so, like Steve said, stop looking for the Holy Grail. You're not going to find it. There's never going to be a playoff situation that satisfies everyone. This is what we have. Let's deal with it and let's get excited and see how it all unfolds.
I like that. The Holy Grail. I think that's a great analogy. And we'll always look for it. And once in a great while, we find it, but in most cases, we don't. But we do have Freddie. And I think one of the things, and I didn't have a chance to look through the projections from Cal Preps until this morning. A lot of these games, Freddie, are 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, 4 point margin games. And I think that's great. And I think from a box office point of view, I think it's also great because you're going to get some exciting games in the first round that you may have not gotten in the past.
Well, I tweeted out just yesterday that I think there are going to be more upsets of number 1 seeds than we've ever seen before, especially top 4 seeds. I also mentioned that when I was looking at the Cal Preps, I went online and I was looking at the schedule and going down all of their projections. In almost every division, those projections were within 7 points or less, a score or less, whatever division that you went into. And I think this is what CIF wanted to create. I don't know that it works out for everybody. The team at Bishop Amatis to play this week, Yorba Linda,
right.
They were 5 in 2019 and lose to St. Paul in the semifinals. They go 10-0. They're rewarded by going into Division II and being on the road against Amat in the first round. Do they like this format? I don't know. Glendora, look at them. They go 10-0. They're going to be in Division III. They got in as the 8th seed, so they're fortunate to have a home game. But it's really tough.
Yeah.
Teams that are rewarded. You look at someone like Charter Oak, who had recently been in, I think, Division III or IV, had climbed as high as Division III a few years ago when they got in the semifinals. I want to say 4 or 5 years ago. And all of a sudden, they have a 5-5 season. They go 0-3 in league. And here they are playing Rio Hondo Prep in the first round of a Division VII playoff, a division they can really win. So this worked out for them. It all depends where you come from and how you look at it. That's why, again, like Steve said, no one's ever going to be satisfied. We're not going to be satisfied. I still think there are other ways you can do it. But, I kind of like the idea that we're experimenting with all of these different kinds of scenarios, and we'll see how this plays out. And I like that Rob Wygod, the commissioner of CIF, is open to experimenting and trying different things and not being stale. I think that makes everything exciting.
It does. So let's so folks, usually in our formats we have like 3 games of the week, and then we do the other games, and then we do the lightning round and all that kind of stuff. Well, some of these matchups are so great. We're just going to rifle through these divisions, get Freddie's take on them, get his picks on them and everything, and then at the end we will talk a little bit about the playoff system, and I've got some thoughts, and I know Freddie's expressed some as well. But let's go to work here, Freddie.
Let's go.
Let's go with the Division II game that you
it.
mentioned. Yep, this is Yorba Linda, which is coached by Jeff Bailey, who, for people in the Valley should know, he coached at El Dorado back almost 10 years ago when they played South Hills and Charter Oak in those Donnybrook games in Division 6. 10-0 from the Crestview League, taking on Bishop Amat. Freddie, who, man, pushed to the limit, but they found a way to beat Sarah, and with it, I think they got their home game.
Yeah, they got their home game. They got the number 8 seed, and look, I think what Bishop Amat has is a winnable game versus not having a winnable game. Let's say in 2019 when they go 9-1 and they've got to play Modern Day in the first round, they get beat 63-19. Or, they haven't won a first round playoff game since 2015. And that's with being one of the top 10 teams annually in CIF every year. The problem is they're always at that 7 or 8 number, playing number 1 or 2. So look, they find themselves now in the Division II playoffs as the number 8 seed. And I think, again, talking to Coach Haggerty this morning, what he's nervous about is everybody's already projecting ahead. Bishop Amat's in the Division II playoffs. How far can they go? Will they win their first championship since 95? Are they going to get a home game against Alameda in the second round because they won the coin flip? And he's trying to say, hey, look, man, Yorba Linda is 10-0 for a reason. They're actually a very, very good team from the Crestview League. They beat Chino Hills 24-3 earlier this year. And we know Chino Hills has beaten Damien. Chino Hills is from the Baseline League and is used to playing really good teams. It won't be an easy game, James, but certainly a winnable game where Bishop Amat is going in this with a chance. Now, the big question mark for Bishop Amat is who's going to start at quarterback on Friday. Hunter Watson replaced Tobin Odell, who's injured. I'm told that's going to be a game time decision on Friday. Hunter Watson is more of your pocket passer, which you lose if you don't have Odell as that ability to run and pass. But I think where Bishop Amat is good in games like this is you have an Aiden Ramos, a running back, who can run it down teams' throats and score points. And that's the difference, I think. When we saw Bishop Amat play Damien, and I'll call Damien a team like Yorba Linda or a team like Chino Hills or teams like La Habra. Maybe Yorba Linda is obviously probably a little better than that. But when you put Bishop Amat against those teams, you see them wear it down with their offensive line. You see a guy like Ramos who can really go to work, whereas he can't when you're playing, a Servite or you're playing, a St. John Bosco. So I think Bishop Amat is going to have the ability to score a lot of points. Now Yorba Linda, when Haggerty tells me, has been very, very good against teams that want to run the ball this year. So that's going to be the key on Friday is how well Almont runs. And they're going to need to, if, they're going to a quarterback who's only playing his second game of the season. We're going to have to wait and see. As it is, even if Odell plays, obviously he's going to be a little injured. So that's a big area of concern going into the playoffs for Bishop Amat, because you have a third-year starter who's obviously not healthy, and you're going to have to figure some of this out on the fly as you go.
Kiefer's worth a touchdown, right?
Kiefer's worth a touchdown and more. I've always said, at home they've got a chance. And look, Almont, they're going to win this game. You can book it. I think it's going to be closer than expected. Look, I think you have to respect the heck out of a team that's 10-0. Just like if this was Glendora playing Almont, you'd have to respect them, and they would have a shot. I mean, it's not like these teams come in and don't have a chance. They're here for a reason. They played St. Paul very tough, like I said, in 2019. It's a very respected program. And one thing that Haggerty said that they do that concern, they don't just play hard, he said. They play fanatically hard. And whenever you're facing a team like that, you better come ready. And I think he'll have them ready. They'll survive this game, and Bishop Amat will win their first round game since 2015, James.
So Freddie's got Bishop Amat. I'm going to take them too as well. Freddie, I just want to go circle back 2007 at the All CIF meeting, and we had at South Hills, which I helped run that year. The coaches in that room were Steve Bogan, Jeff Bailey, Lou Farrar, and Jason Negro.
Yeah, wow.
Pretty good. That was a pretty good group of guys. So I'm always reminded of that. You just never know when you go to a CIF, All CIF meeting, what you're going to have in the room, so to speak. So Bishop Amat is the pick for Freddie and myself, and on Cal Preps as well, 35-31. And they will play the winner of Bishop Diego at Alameda. And that game is no pushover, by the way, folks. Don't be surprised.
I've heard Bishop Diego will give them a run for their money.
Yes, they will. And if that does happen and Bishop Diego wins, then Bishop Amat is on the road next week for a nice long road trip.
Wins, Amat won the coin flip and will be at home for that rematch.
Which guess who will be there too? Freddie.
More than likely, I think I probably would be.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go Division III, Freddie. And as we mentioned, your top-ranked team in the area for at the end of the regular season is Glendora. Congratulations to Brandon Warrer and his staff, 10-0 on the year. A great TV feature, by the way, on Channel 2 they did on with our man Beto Duran last week. It was really well done. In any case, though, they get Downey at Citrus College. I'll be at the game Friday night. And talking with John Davis, who covers Long Beach for us, we mentioned it on Twitter Spaces on Sunday during our Selection Sunday show. Downey's no pushover, Freddie.
No, again, every one of these games, they're pretty evenly matched. Downey defeated Bonita until Bonita lost to Ayala. That was Bonita's only loss this year. So they're a very capable team. They've been a team that's given some of our area teams headaches over the years and knocked some teams out. But look, I was talking to Coach Brandon Rohr, and I was asking him, this 10-0 Glendora team, where does this stack up with teams of the past? Because he's obviously been around that program for a lot of years, and he feels like they stack up against any of them, James. He says you really don't have a weakness that you can point to with Glendora. They are just solid all the way around. I actually think they're capable of going on a run in this division, but they can also get beat in the first round in a division like this. That's what this division is. I mean, Glendora's had a historical year. I think the win over Ayala earlier this season was really, really impressive. They've just had some impressive victories. I think the first game of the year, I can't remember the team they beat, but that was also a very, very good win.
That would be West Ranch.
Yes, West Ranch, who went on to have a really good year. So, look, I like Glendora at home. I'm going to book it. I think as good as Downey is, I think Glendora, just in all phases, they're going to have trouble scoring on Glendora. And I think Glendora's going to do just enough. It's going to be a close, low-scoring game. That would be my prediction. But I like Glendora inside a touchdown to win.
So Cal Preps has Downey winning 22-21, which is pretty much tells you this is a pick'em game. And when you look at these 4 games in Division III, you look at the margins here: 1 point, 8 points, 5 points, 1 point. It just shows you how balanced this division is. I will take Glendora as well in a very close game.
Yeah.
My only concern, Freddie, is Glendora has been basically on vacation for the last 3 weeks. Now,
yes.
you can get healthy, but at the same time, what's going to happen when the heat gets turned up in the fryer here, so to speak? Are they going to be prepared for it or not?
Yeah,
It's one thing.
Braden Bruce, their big horse in the back room who
Yep.
played both positions. He was dealing with a little foot injury, from what I understand, and they held him out in that Week 10 game against South Hills. But I think that was more cautionary than everything else. But I think that's sort of what you're alluding to, James, in that it's easy to take your foot off the gas a little bit, make sure that you're healthy for the playoffs. You're not playing in close competitive games. And we'll see what that does to Glendora going into this game against Downey, because all of a sudden now you're turning the notch up to level 10, and you got to be ready to go, as soon as the ball is kicked off. But this is such a good program. Brandon Rohr is such a good coach. I think they're going to be ready, and I think this rest, if that's what you call it, is going to have them prepared and ready to go.
And they will play the winner of Apple Valley at Citrus Valley. One team from the high desert, the other team, Citrus Valley, from the Inland Empire. Should be a terrific matchup too in that game. Division 4 is where we find the majority of our top-ranked teams in the area located in here. And Freddie, we're going to start here with Bonita. They're at home against Jurupa Hills. Jurupa Hills was bouncing between Division 3 and Division 4 all season long. They end up being in Division 4. There's not a better coach I think you want during a postseason run than Steve Bogan there, Freddie.
No, and I believe Bonita's the 5th seed, right? Is that
Correct.
right?
Correct.
Yeah. Look, I think Steve Bogan, if you didn't think he was one of the great all-time coaches before this season or even last season, he just continues to prove it again and again. You saw him do it at South Hills. First year he goes over to Maranatha. They've been struggling. I think they go undefeated regular season and go into the playoffs his very first year. And he goes over to Bonita, a school that had been good but not great, and he makes them great again. He just knows what he's doing, how to build a program. He's got a defense to go with his offense. I know they had the hiccup game against Ayala, which Ayala is a very, very good team, but I loved the way they bounced back and beat Altaloma by holding them to 2 points of safety. That was amazing how well they a very, very good team, James. Hello?
Am I here?
Yeah, I had a phone call and I had to cancel it out.
I just got I had a scam call myself, where it's all good.
Yeah,
now.
I'm going to go with Bonita to win this game. Hey, forget seeds, by the way. When you say 5 against 12, that doesn't mean anything in these divisions, but I still like Bonita. Book it to get to the next round.
And Bonita will play the winner of Palos Verdes at Cypress. That should be another dynamite game. The game above that in the pairing sheet is probably one of the more compelling games on the schedule. It is Upland, St. Paul at Upland. St. Paul with a dramatic emotional win to cause a 3-way tie in the Angeles League. They did the coin flips and they ended up getting the at-large bid, which just meant you got in. Not a big deal here. It doesn't affect the rate, their standing in the playoffs or anything. Freddie, this is a dynamite game Friday, my friend. Woo!
Yeah, and I think St. Paul beating Loyola was huge. That was pretty amazing for them to come back and beat them in the end on the road. I will say this though, James. I think this is a tough game for them being on the road, having to go to Upland. I happen to think that the Baseline League is stronger than the Angeles League. When Loyola played Damien early in the season, Loyola jumped out to a big lead with their big quarterback, who wound up getting injured in that game and went out for the season, and Damien was able to come back and make it a game. That really made Loyola more of an average team in the Angeles League, and otherwise I think they would have blown through it. I just think that the Baseline is stronger. Upland, beat Damien. We saw what Damien did to St. Francis. St. Francis beat, they went over to St. Paul and beat them. So I'm going to go with Upland here and a book it to beat St. Paul in that game. Two great teams, obviously. St. Paul's had a great season, but I'm going with Upland. Book it.
I'm going to go the other way here. I'm going to take St. Paul here, pal. It's a very good game. And I believe, and I'm looking at this at the screen here. As I'm speaking here, I'm trying to find the game. Upland 21-20.
Yeah.
Pick 'em game. Pick 'em game. But and they'll play the winner of Trabuco Hills at Long Beach Poly Yes, folks, Long Beach Poly is in Division 4. And for people like Freddie and myself, that's hard to digest to this day. It is. This is what it is. Bottom half. Here's another great game, Freddie. You start going to the bottom half of the bracket here. So Lucerna is at orange. Lucerna wins the Del Rio League Championship. I mean, what more could you say about Andy George? You know, and around Lucerna, it's Andy we trust. Go ahead, Fred.
And I actually think this is a good spot for Lucerna, being that there's a 14th seed playing a 3 seed.
Right.
Again, seeds don't matter. People don't get caught up in seeds. I think this is a road winnable game for Lucerna. You know, we've seen Orange before. I think they're a good program, certainly something that Lucerna is capable of beating. I like Lucerna. What's the CalPreps number on that one?
It is Orange 31, Lucerna 24.
Yeah, I'm going with Lucerna in an upset. I'm going with Lucerna in an upset. I just think they've been playing really well these last 7 games. They're not the team that lost the 2, the back-to-back games early in the season, and they lost to 2 really good teams, by the way, when they lost early in the season. But I think they've got it together. They're comfortable. I got Lucerna.
Those 2 teams would be Warren and Bonita, which I would agree they're pretty good. One thing to keep in mind: Orange will be without their big defensive player, their number 1 starter. Out. He was ejected from the game last week. Our buddy Michael Huntley from the Orange County Register tweeted out to me yesterday that player will not. I forget what his name is, but they'll be without their best defensive player Friday night against Lucerna. That's huge when you get to the playoffs here, Freddie.
How about St. Francis? Look who they've got to play.
Yeah, so they now this is a case here. They're playing Irvine, and I've been talking to a lot of people in South Orange County. And they're telling me that this is one of those teams, Freddie, that you talked about, 10-0. From the Pacific Hills League, which is a football only league, one of those dream type of seasons where they put it all together. Because it's a great hometown story. Yet here they are get thrown into the fire here in Division 4 against the St. Francis team with Max Garrison, who was just again sensational on Friday night against Crescent.
And that's the thing, Max Garrison, from what I understand, and coaches don't like to talk about it, was a little banged up and bruised in the middle of the season when you notice he didn't have those big games. You remember he came out first game of the season, 300 yards and what have you.
Right.
Had a tough one against Damien. Well, somewhere in there, he was a little injured and banged up, and they weren't throwing the ball particularly well. I think they've sort of solved that, or they're getting healthy or feeling better towards the end of the season. You saw them come back against Crespi and Garrison have a great game. He was starting to really come on against St. Paul and that win on the road that they got. I like St. Paul right now. I like them in this division.
St. Francis, you mean?
St. Francis, I'm sorry. I like St. Francis. I know it's a 10-0 team, but like you said, I'm going to go with tradition and teams who've been in this type of division and been here before and are used to it, with a coach who's been there, done that. I like St. Francis. You can book it to win on Friday.
How can you not like Dean Harrington, Freddie?
Yeah.
I mean, he's such a great coach. And I'm glad you got to meet Max Garrison, too. He's such an engaging personality. Yeah. He's a great kid.
He also reminded me that I didn't pick him, that I didn't pick them to win. Yeah. People remember that. This they love to say book it when I get it wrong to me. That's been, I've heard that all year long. So I'm giving it right back. Book it.
Max Garrison loves big game, James. That's what I'm going to say. All right. So those are the games in Division 5, Division 4. Just a wonderful division. We're going to be following this very, very closely Friday night, is who's going to go to the next round and everything else. We only have one area team in Division 5, Freddie, and it's a biggie. It's La Habra, and as Freddie has cautioned, do not think of them as a 16 seed whatsoever, because if you do, you'll be disappointed. And they're on the road at Tustin. This game is also very, very, from a CalPreps point of view, very close with Tustin with a 28-24 projected win here. But again, Freddie, it's Frank Mazzota and it's La Habra. What else can you say?
Yeah, if I'm Tustin and I'm a number 1 seed and I'm getting La Habra, I'm like, dang. How did we wind up with them? Because I don't know if you know what to expect with La Habra. I mean, they started 0-5, and I really think during that 0-5 run towards the end, they were just getting ready for league. I don't know if they rested guys or what have you. And they've looked great in league. I think they knew what they had to do. They had to go into league and go, they went undefeated. They won all their games. And now they're in a playoff division, Division 5. But the problem is they are the 16th seed and they've got to play number 1. So this was I kept saying that all year long. If you told me who's going to have the best chance in our area to win a championship in the playoffs start, I was going to say La Habra because they were in this division. But because they have this tough game against Tustin, they were this close, James, to be the number 1 seed
in Division
in
Six,
Division 6.
but I think
One
less than
marker,
1 point.
and then it would have been over. At the end of Division 5, and look, it's a division they can win, obviously. And I'm going to pick them. I'm going to pick them to win, to beat Tustin, because I think Cal Preps doesn't even know how good they are. And, I think they're going to relish the thought of being an underdog and being the 16th seed. And this is going to be a lot for Tustin to think about. You can book it. La Habra is going to go on the road, and this is going to be one of the upset specials that I talked about where number 1 seeds are going to fall. La Habra, book it.
So Freddie takes La Habra here in the upset over Tustin, and they would play the winner of Valencia, Rio Mesa. And that's going to be an interesting game, Freddie, because Valencia didn't play last week because of COVID protocols and the health and safety issues within the program. So they're coming off a bye, so to speak. So it'll be interesting to see how they come out against Rio Mesa, who is the second place team from the Channel Island League. So that's the only team from the area in Division 5. Let's go to Division 6 here. And we're going to start here with Monrovia. They've been basically 4 or 5 weeks in vacation in the Rio Hondo League, but they get a home game on Friday night against Norte Vista. I had a conversation with our good friend and pal, Eric Paul Johnson from the Press Enterprise, who reminds me that Norte Vista can run the football.
Yeah, and I know Monrovia hasn't been in the game in a while, but man, if they look good in the games they've been in. Look at Carlos Hernandez last week.
Isn't it something?
4 receiving, 2 on defense. Him and their quarterback have
Noah Rodriguez
have such great chemistry. I think Monrovia has a little chip on their shoulder. They knew all year long they were headed towards 10-0 and we're going to be in a division that challenged them. And I think Chris Williams is going to have them ready. This is no easy game by any stretch.
No.
I'm cautious because I know they had a close game with West Covina. They had a close game with the Los Altos, and you say, well, that doesn't bode well in a game like this. But then I also look at how they really turned it up in the league and then just beat teams. They beat them the way you're supposed to beat teams, and the games were over by halftime. But James, at the end of the day, I think this is they needed to be in a lower division to have a chance. Monrovia is going to lose on Friday. They're going to be a 10-0 team, to me, that is going to get beat simply because, like you said, I don't think they're going to be able to stop a really good team like this. It's a tough game. I hate to say it. Monrovia is going to lose. Book it.
Ooh. That's a tough pick there. It's a tough pick, especially when Cal Prep says Monrovia winning by 1. So again, it's almost a pick 'em game here, so to speak. I think the key here, Freddie, in which one of the reasons why I'm picking Monrovia, they have to come out to a fast start. They got to score early against these run-oriented type of teams.
I don't trust Monrovia's defense against a really good team. And they haven't played, let's be honest, they haven't played a great team all season. If you want to call West Covina, if you want to call Los Altos great, go ahead. But they haven't played anything of this caliber all season.
Okay, so we got a split here. Freddie's taking Norte Vista. I am taking Monrovia, and that's the only area team in Division 6 that's in the playoffs. So we're going to move along here to Division 7. And this one, folks, I mean, if there's ever an argument, if there's ever an argument of, okay, this playoff system may not work, what are we doing here? The critics will point to Rio Hondo Prep at Charter Oak. Man, oh man, I wrote about this in the paper yesterday. Many of the players from Charter Oak were affiliated with the Care Youth program that filters through the Rio Hondo Prep. God, Freddie, I don't know what to think here.
I can guarantee you that when Charter Oak coach Dom Farrar opened the pairings and he saw Rio Hondo Prep, his jaw just dropped. Like, how could they do this to us? And it's not because they're facing an opponent that's overwhelmingly good. It's because you're in a game with a lot to lose, and obviously there's always something to gain because this is a CI playoffs when you go on. But if there's a game you don't want to lose in the playoffs when you have the reputation that Charter Oak has. It's the Rio Hondo Prep, the little school in Arcadia that you could barely find hidden behind this little street by Arcadia Par 3. I mean, this was an 8-man football team, 10, 15 years ago, that when they've competed for championships as an 11-man team, they were winning Division 13, Division 12. For them to jump up this big is a credit to their program. A school of probably 100 kids, James.
Yeah.
But what makes them so good is the Care Youth League in Covina. A lot of these kids that go to Rio Hondo Prep, they grew up playing together since they were 8, 9, 10, 11. They're a well-oiled machine. So what they do great. And they have a great running back in Jonathan Guerrero who could play at any school. And Rio and the Care Youth League produces so many great players that, go on to play at South Hills or Charter Oak or even Glendora. They always lose the Division I talent that they produce to those schools because they are a small school. And they really keep what's left over and they make the best of it. And these are just guys who live and breathe football. And I can tell you, they're relishing at this opportunity to play Charter Oak, a city that they grew up in, that they know, that they've gone and watched their games, that they kind of look up to, a well-respected program. Man, I can't think of a David versus Goliath scenario in the Valley like this that we've ever had. I know they've played Arcadia before in kind of a non-league game, and they blew out Arcadia when they beat them.
Yeah.
Years ago, Arroyo had a good team, and they blew out Singheiser. Therefore, now this is Charter Oak. This is a different animal altogether. This is a Charter Oak team that was in the game in the fourth quarter against Glendora, James. In the game in the fourth quarter against Glendora.
Okay. Come on now. I'm putting the feet in the fire here.
Man.
Who are we taking here?
I've got to book it with Charter Oak. If they lose, they're going to hear it for years.
Woo!
I think Rio Hondo Prep, I give them a puncher's chance. If they can somehow contain Charter Oak's run game, if they can do that, and that's the big if, they can win this game. But man, I can't book Rio Hondo Prep because it just seems so unimaginable. So I'm going to call Charter Oak. Look, if you're Charter Oak and you go 5-5 and 0-3 in league, and you get to fall to Division 7 and get a first-round game against Rio Hondo Prep, in any other scenario, that's a dream first-round game. But they happen to be in our area. They happen to be the team down the street that you just absolutely don't want to lose to, and that's pressure. That's a different kind of pressure that anyone over there is used to dealing with, and we're going to see how they handle that pressure on Friday night. But I'm going to take Charter Oak because they're at home, and they should win this game, James. They just should. They're Charter Oak. Come on. What do you got?
So Freddie covers the east side mostly. I covered the west side. I've experienced Rio Hondo Prep for the last couple of seasons. And it's with that feeling alone and having seen them play this year, I am taking Rio Hondo Prep.
Wow. Unbelievable.
That text message I got from Mark Carson Sunday, they are beyond fired up. This is a huge moment for their program, Freddie.
Because, look, they beat Charter Oak in this area, one of the biggest, richest traditions in the San Gabriel Valley.
What do you call it? A blue blood. It's a blue blood program.
South Hills, exactly. You beat someone like that, you can make the argument, hey, guys, you don't need to go to Charter Oak. You don't have to go to South Hills or Glendora. We could be that right here in Arcadia. We just built this new Care Youth facility in Irwindale. We've got our own football field. We can, we're on the cusp of becoming this level team every year. I can't tell you, it's an opportunity of a lifetime for them, and they're going to be fired up. They play assignment football.
They do.
But I'm going to go with Charter. I'm going to give tradition the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to book it with Charter Oak. But man, what an absolutely exciting versus Goliath game.
Exactly. Freddie, let's just go through the other three games here quickly in the division. Top seed of Pasadena hosts Thousand Oaks. Golden Valley is at La Mirada, and Lusinger is at El Rancho. Freddie,
So
those
I'll
three
go
teams.
real quick. I like Pasadena. I like La Mirada. You can book it. I see El Rancho losing in the first round to Lusinger.
Cool. And that would set up Pasadena versus La Mirada in a quarterfinal next week, which would be a huge game.
Yeah.
Division 8. And we're going to start here with the top seed with Muir. And with Freddie's wise observation that Muir was less than 1 point away from being a 16th seed in Division, I can't believe I'm saying, in Division 7, where they would have played Pasadena, which would have been just a stunner of all stunners. California is at Palm Springs. That is the other area team in the division. Your thoughts?
Well, I went through all 14 divisions, right?
Yep.
Muir is the only number 1 seed that, according to CalPreps, is an underdog, a 6-point underdog in a first round game. I don't understand. These computers projected these teams out where Amat's a 1 seed and then the team they're playing is a 16 seed, but yet Amat's a 6-point underdog. I mean, how do you figure that out? Yep. And I'm buying. I think Muir's going to lose on Friday, James. I think this is one of those first round upsets. I think they've been a team. The Pacific League was really bad this year. They got blown out by St. Francis. I think they were going to lose big to Pasadena if they played the turkey tussle. I think Muir's had a better than expected year, going 7-1. Like I said, their defense has been great. They've had, I think, 3 shutouts, held 2 other teams to 7 points or less. I just don't think they're that team, and I see an upset here in the first round, James. I just don't. I'm not buying on Muir this year. Okay. They win this game, then maybe I'll have different thoughts in the second round. But I think this is one of your upsets. You can book it.
And they'll play the winner of California at Palm Springs. I'm going to take Muir just because I think defense wins championships. I'm also going to take California here, Freddie, because Vance Johnson is healthy, and believe one of their losses was to Lucerna, who's way up in Division 4. So they've been playing some really tough teams here, Freddie, and I think they found their mojo at the right time. And now they're going to Palm Springs, so this is a road trip for them in more ways than one. I'm taking the Condors here, Freddie.
Yeah, I'm taking Cal too, because I think sometimes when you get to play these teams like out in the desert out there, the football just isn't as good as saying in Orange County or in Ventura or by the beach in our the closer proximity. So I like that game too, James. I think when California saw that, it was Palm Springs, they felt like there was an opportunity for them to win. They're obviously in a tough division with El Rancho and Lucerna, like you said. Yeah, I'm going to book it. I'm going with Cal to advance.
Perfect. Division 9. And we're going to start here with, I do believe could be.
Let's go quick now. Let's go quick now.
Yes. We're going to go quickly because I know this game's going to go quickly on Friday night. It's West Covina taking on host San Dimas. Both teams run the wing T. Both teams love to run the football. So this game should end at around 9:15, Freddie.
9:15? I thought more like 8:45, 9 o'clock. I mean,
but what makes this intriguing, you have the coaching matchup here. What you have here is Mark Holman and Mike Majori. And for guys like us, this dream matchup here.
Yeah, and here's the difference. They both sort of run similar offenses, James. West Covina is bigger and stronger. I think they're going to be able to wear San Dimas down a little bit more easily. This is a good division for West Covina to be in. They went 6-4. Like I said, they hung really well with Monrovia. I thought they played Charter Oak good for 3 quarters. They're a physical football team that I think is going to out-physical San Dimas, who's had some injuries. I know San Dimas has gotten some guys back, and that showed in their final game of the season when they got a win and ended up being a co-league champion with Northview. But West Covina is going to win this game, and you can book it. And I'm sorry, Mark Holman, but that's just the way it goes.
Ooh, okay. And then Claremont is playing at Arroyo. Wow, big year for Arroyo. 10-0, pal. Yeah, that doesn't happen around
and Arroyo's won by an average of about 44 points.
Unreal.
They haven't been touched, nothing even close. And this is an interesting game of Claremont is a decent team. I mean, it's the best team, obviously, the Royals faced all year. Upsets, James. I like Claremont. I'm sorry. I know how great Arroyo's been. This is another situation where I think you run into a team that plays tougher teams. That's big, going to be a little bit bigger, probably have a little bit more depth. Arroyo's not going to be able to do to them what they do to Rosemead or they do to Mountain View or they do to El Monte. Claremont's going to win. And this is what happens sometimes when you have a great year like Arroyo, and you're in a system like this. You draw a first round game like this. Who does CalPreps have winning? I think they have Arroyo winning, but it's close.
Very close, Coach.
Yeah. I'm going with Claremont. Book it.
Actually, you know what, Freddie? I apologize. Claremont 19, Arroyo 17. So again, it's a game. Chuck Leonardis, the first-year coach at Arroyo, tremendous job. I don't envy either myself or you trying to pick coach of the year this year. There's so many great coaches.
That'll solve itself over the next 4 weeks.
That is correct, and I've learned that through volleyball this year, my friend. Division 10, and we're going to start here with my alma mater, the Sure Spartans, who took care of business Friday night and defeated San Gabriel. They got a road game against St. Anthony at St. Paul High School because St. Anthony doesn't have a football field, so they had to rent St. Paul High School. Freddie, the Spartans are catching some fire here, my friend.
What is Sure seeded in that division?
They're not 4, so they were, I believe, either 9 or 10. Yeah,
Sure is a team I think that can win this division, James. I really do. I'm going to pick them to win this game. I think they're in the perfect spot in Division 10. Yeah, the way that they destroyed Bell Gardens, the way they destroyed a pretty good San Gabriel team, I think they're one that you have to watch. I think the stars aligned for them. I just think it's a winnable division and good spot for them. I'm really curious how they do in this first game, but I'm going to pick them to win. You can book it.
Okay. And St. Anthony, coached by the legendary Raul Lara, who is the coach for many years over at Long Beach Poly. Northview is at Garden Grove, and then Laguna Hills is coming to District Field to take on Covina. Last week, Freddie, at one time I had Covina possibly playing Northview in a possible semifinal because they were that close to each other. But interesting games here, Freddie.
Yeah, Northview, they blew a 28-0 lead against Los Altos,
and you can blame the guy here it's right next to me because he put it out on Twitter that the game was over and he stopped him.
Well, I think what happened there, and Marcel Perez emptied the bench. He didn't want to get anyone injured. They'd already clinched the top seed, at least a share of the Valley Vista League title. Whether they shared it with San Dimas or not was really not important. You want to be healthy and you don't want to get anybody hurt. Look, that was a 28-0 game. I think Northview's playing really well right now, James. The last half of the season, I think, if they played Covina again, they beat Covina if they play them a second time. I really do. I think James Arianes, the quarterback, is starting to play really well. I like Northview to win this game, and I think Covina is going to lose. So you can book it both ways.
Ooh, so you're going against Jake the Quake here.
Yeah, I'm going to go against Jake the Quake. I know he's a freshman. He's going to need some time. But yeah, I like Covina to win. Northview to win, Covina to lose. Book it.
Okay. All right. Division 11, Cantwell Secret Heart of Mary is at top seed at Village Christian. We pretty much know where that's going to go, but
Village Christian, go on.
Yeah, that's if you want to put a lock of the week, there is. But at the bottom of the bracket, probably one of the better stories this year, Freddie. Baldwin Park seated number 2 in Division 11. They will host Riverside Poly. God, you got to think the Braves here can make a run here, pal.
What's Riverside Poly's record?
6-4.
What's the CalPreps margin on this one?
I'm gonna look up here, Coach. As I do that, I will see that it is. Where are we at here? Oh, Baldwin Park, 28-21.
Yeah, Baldwin Park's going to lose, James. You can book it. Another.
Whoa! What are we doing here, Coach?
Number 2 seed goes down. Look, Baldwin Park is 10-0, and look. Let's give them a lot of credit for going. It's never easy to go 10-0. 10-0 is always is something special. You make T-shirts for going 10-0. You can put banners up for going 10-0 because it's exciting. But the toughest team they played all year was Rosemead. They haven't played anyone, James. The Mount Sac area created these 4-team leagues and put them in the perfect 4-team league to go 3-0 easily. They haven't even really been tested. I think Rosemead did give them a test for a half.
Yeah,
but I think this is a case where. They go 10-0. They're going to division, and they're going to play a pretty good team who's 6-4, who's actually, playing at tougher opponents, and they're going to get beat. I think they're going to get beat on Friday, and it is what it is. That's what some of the Mount Sac area created. I think was false realities of what teams are and what a real 10-0 season is. This isn't one of Baldwin Park's. This isn't a Tony Zane team by any standards that went 10-0 and is a juggernaut in CIF.
Oh, the late Tony
Zane. Very,
Zane.
very average. Had Baldwin Park played South Hills' record, they might be 0-10, James. Had South Hills played Baldwin Park's record schedule, they would be 10-0. So if you want to put reality, that's reality. I think they're going to lose on Friday. Look it.
I'm just glad you mentioned the name Tony Zane. Man, that's some memories there for me, pal. I just love it. Division 12, we're going to go through quickly here. Garden Grove Santiago is at Walnut, and I cannot state how impressive Walnut looked in the second half Friday night in defeating Diamond Bar. Eric Peralta, outstanding job. I did not know he coached at Bishop Mont for a few years, but one of the more fun videos I got to put out at the end of the game, Freddie, was the kids giving him the Gatorade bath after the win. It was a big night, and they got the old guard back. Jerry Pearson's back as running as a defensive line coach and running the defense. They got it going, Freddie.
Yeah, and I picked Walnut to win that game, James. And Walnut's a team I'm buying. Now, look, they're one that's been down a long time. And Jerry Pearson, who you mentioned, was one of the proponents of the new Mount Sac Area 4-team leagues because Walnut had struggled for so many years. But this is a case of all the stars aligning. One, Walnut got into an easier league. They were capable of winning, and they won it. But they also are a much improved Walnut football team. This is a team that, even in the old league, old situation, they would have been pretty competitive. We saw against West Covina this year, that game went down to the wire. They had West Covina on the ropes and nearly won that game. So now you throw them into Division 12, James. I'm going to pick Walnut to win this week. I'm going to book it. I like them. They may even have a chance in this division. Let's see how all these first round games go in this division. But I think Walnut is one of those teams. Like I said, all the stars are aligning. They're in a good spot. They are just a solid football program for this division. They're going to have a chance.
They are projected to win 24-17. Ruben Rivera is their running back, 5'8", Freddie. No, not a big dude, but you put him in those tall trees when they run that double wing offense, and the next thing you know it, he's gone. He's in the second level, and he's scoring. So
Walnut Mustangs win it. Book it.
Yeah, it's just great. It's nice to see.
Walnut. Yeah.
Here's another great story. So Westminster is playing Pasadena Poly. I think this game's going to be at South Pass, I think, or I don't know where it's going to be at. We got to figure out where it's going to be at. But in any case, Pasadena Poly makes the playoffs as the second place team from the Rio Honda League. Freddie, one of the better stories of the year.
Yeah, it really is, and it is a tough game to call, James. I'm gonna give Pasadena Poly the benefit of the doubt and say they win a first round game here and advance. I think what they did in the Rio Hondo League was impressive. Although the Rio Hondo League was down after Monrovia, but still, when you come from the background they did, they're used to playing in the prep league with Rio Hondo Prep. But I think they're in a winnable spot here, James, where they can win a first round game. I'm going to book it and go with them to advance.
That game is being played at San Marino High School. Chris Schmokey, another great job over there. He loves the videos, by the way, Fred. He loves the videos that we do. Diamond Bar is at Victor Valley. Rosemead is at Rancho Alamitos. Go.
I don't see Diamond Bar winning. After what happened last week, I think they're going to get beat. What was your other game?
Other game is Rosemead at Rancho Alamitos.
Rancho Alamitos. Rosemead's another one. I'm just not buying. I didn't think they had the greatest year. And even in the Mission Valley League, they struggle a little bit. So I think they're going to lose.
Division 13, we'll go through quickly here. Magnolia is taking on top-seeded. Come on, folks, ready for this? Top-seeded South Pasadena. It was a shocker for a lot of us on Sunday. Bassett will be playing at Heritage Christian. Another terrific job here by Hector Spathius. He's probably throwing the ball all over the place over there at Bassett, Freddie. And then Jurupa Valley is playing at San Gabriel. Go, Freddie.
I like San Gabriel in this division, James.
Okay.
Really do. And, but you see South Pass as the number one seed. San Gabriel's better than they are. I would bet you play a head-to-head game, San Gabriel beats them. So, and having said that, I think South Pass is one of those number one seeds that's going to get beat in the first round. I'm calling them to win. I think San Gabriel is going to win, James. And who's the other team real quick?
The other team was Bassett.
Bassett. I like Bassett too. I do. I think Bassett in that Miramonte League, kind of how they played, the way they beat Ganesha. Actually, it was a decent league, and they're playing tough, hard nosed football. So I like Bassett and San Gabriel to advance in D13, and I like South to get knocked off.
Okay, and finally in Division 14, some area teams here. Interesting here. Azusa's at Gary. Santa Rosa Academy is at Alhambra at Moore Field. Hamilton is at Don Bosco Tech. First league championship for Don Bosco Tech in more than 25 years. El Monte's at Pomona. Go Fred.
Gosh, this is so hard to really know. It's hard to know what those other teams are like in Division 14. It's a gift to be in Division 14 for any of these area teams to have a shot with the type of years that they have. But let's go with Bosco Tech to win first, James.
Okay.
Historically having the year that they have, I think, they can win a first round game. I don't like any of our others. Pomona's going to win, I think.
Okay.
An area team. I think Gary's going to win their game, so that knocks out one of our area teams. Gary's fringe area team. So that's really it. I like Bosco Tech and then Pomona and Gary to win in that division.
Santa Rosa Academy and Alhambra. You're taking Santa Rosa Academy here?
What's Santa Rosa Academy's record?
They are 4-4. Alhambra is 4-6. Alhambra is projected to win 38-20.
Yeah, let's go with Alhambra. I'm sorry, I forgot about that game. Alhambra, I think, is a little, this Division 14, depending on, it's hard to predict, but that's a gift for Alhambra coming out of the Almont League as a third place team to be in a league like this. So, I do think they can win, James. They're going to win their first round.
Awesome. And there you have it, folks. We went through 14 games, 14 divisions with our area games here. You know what the picks are and everything. All that's left, Freddie, is what we're doing for the week here, pal.
Well, we've got a lot coming this week, James. Like I said, I'm going to have a story on just Bishop Amont's thoughts on playing Yorba Linda. Later in the week, I've talked to Coach Brandon Rohr, and we'll talk. We'll write and talk about his first round game. I'm going to have a top 5 things to watch right before the playoffs as we come in. That's going to be up Wednesday night in Thursday's newspaper, and then we'll have our preview breakdowns of the best featured games for Friday. We're still looking at our lineup. We have a big group of papers at SCNG, so we're going to find out where everyone is covering, and we'll have a full lineup of games that we're covering on Friday. But again, on Friday night, I'm going to have the wrap where I have all the scores. I put up all the story links. You and I will be tweeting about everything that's happening, and then you and I are going to have a Spaces Friday night and talk about. This is just about the San Gabriel Valley. I think it's time we focus on our area, San Gabriel Valley, the Whittier area, Pasadena. This is our little corner of the world, and we'll talk about what they did and what's going to happen going forward. And Saturday to Sunday, some of the games we didn't cover, I'm going to kind of recap and write up in a kind of looking forward sort of article. That just maybe there's some great storylines we missed on Friday or that we found out late. That's what that story is for. But it's playoff time, James. This is the time of the year when we go overboard and we try to crush it. And I'm just excited because every one of these games, it could be a situation where we're left with 3 or 4 teams after Friday, or we've got 15 teams left.
It always happens that way, doesn't it, Freddie?
You just don't know. This is going to be the most unpredictable weekend of all weekends. There's going to be so many surprises, I think. We're just going to have to watch and see how it unfolds. And
I think CIF wants that. I really do. I really think they want that, so to speak. Friends, why be behind a paywall? If you don't have a digital subscription, get one. That means you get all of our stories from all of our network of newspapers within our group, which includes the Orange County Register, the Press Enterprise, the Daily News, the Daily Breeze, the Press Telegram, all the papers that you see behind my on my background here, you get, so to speak. Big shout out. I'm heading out to El Rancho High School today to do a story for the paper on Friday on El Rancho High School girls volleyball. They're in the finals in Division 6, Freddie, and that means yours truly is going to Santa Barbara, my friend.
Well, that's great. That's great. Those girls deserve they're the Lone Ranger and the
They are the Lone Rangers, coach.
yeah, the Lone Rangerettes. What do we call them?
Yeah, they are the last women standing. How is that?
Yeah, the last women.
But I'm going to head out there today. Going to do some interviews. We'll do a story on them for the paper Friday, and then I'm heading out there. As we like to say, Freddie, this is a working vacation for a day.
Yes,
Yes.
day in Santa Barbara. Game is over.
Promise.
Enjoy a sip of wine on the beach.
We're watching college football. The home team's on the road here this week.
Is this the night where James is going to get a hotel room and enjoy a night in Santa Barbara and come home Sunday morning, or are you making the trip home Sunday night?
Yet to be determined. Yet to be determined yet, pal.
Anyway, all right, let's wrap this up.
Hey, that's good. We promise we'll be back with you guys next week for another edition of the 2-Minute Drills. I'll be at Glendora. Freddie's going to be at Amont. There it is. That's the infamous Northview photo. Freddie's finally getting it right, so to speak. Are you wearing that shirt, by the way, Friday night at Amont?
I'm going to wear a Book It shirt. I have a Book It sweatshirt, so I'm going to wear it Friday night into Kiefer. I've booked it. Man, can you imagine walking up to the Yorba Linda coach if they beat Bishop Amont with my Book It shirt on? I hope he's not.
Jeff, no, I'm going to tell you this right now. Jeff Bailey is on my all-time group of coaches I've had to deal with. He is awesome. He's on another level, so to speak. But really, thank you for joining us all season, everybody. We'll see you next week for the quarterfinals. Until then, I'm James. This is Freddie. Until next time, it's sayonara for now.